presenting next. I'm going to do the intro. Masha, what are you doing?
I'm doing the advantages.
And Idera, you're doing disadvantages?
Yeah, I'm doing them.
I'm seeing here one disadvantage. Where are the other 6?
See, I'll explain the other 6 when I'm doing that one.
Okay. Dina, you're supposed to do conclusions and recommendations. You haven't sent anything.
Say send to the work.
Dina, you copy-pasted from Wikipedia to a Word document. You're supposed to make slides.
I thought you're the one compiling the slides.
Masha, you said you found some points on recommendations.
Yes, I found some points.
Maybe put them on this slide. I'll do the conclusion. You guys, the 3 of us will present. So.
University can be a crazy time for many students. New environment, some self-discovery if you're lucky, and endless assignments. Consequently, deadlines, stress, along with intoxicating substances, and working with people who couldn't care less are all likely to ensue. As you run around campus looking for a place to print your group assignment without picking up any viruses, you notice a group member basking in the sun. They stop, look right at you, and continue to roast as you rush off and curse the day you met this person. Sometimes though, as you're setting up the projector for a presentation, 2 other members are putting the final touches to the slideshow and the last group member is typing up the assignment. Momentarily, life is sweet. Group work at university is a continuum between tertiary education heaven and hell, and it's interesting and pays to know what lies within.
I lecture on psychology. My master's is in applied psychology, so units regarding psychology. And I also do I run a consultancy that works with the youth. For the youth, we found that success in academia, success in relating with people, success in self-management, like how they manage their emotions, what is known as emotional intelligence, and also in self-esteem. Those are the 4 areas we focus on. Group dynamics is a collection of forces that intervene whenever people are interacting in a group setup that is more than one person. So you take an individual, you give them a behavior or a stimulus, and then when they respond to it, they behave differently as opposed to what they would do when they're in a group. A group is 2 or more people who are interacting together and they have mutual objectives. So we have the very minimum level of a group, we call it a mob. They are together. They may not have a very clear understanding of how they are complementing each other. And then the highest level is a team, where you have individuals who complement each other so well that it's like they have a +1, +2 persons within the group. The levels come about when we study groups, because we realize when we want a group to perform very well, we want to know what are the factors that are involved in performing very well, in reaching the team status. And there are several models of looking at it. One of my favorite and very popular one is known as the levels of group development, and it has 5 levels. So there is a level of appreciating that you are a member of a group, termed as forming. There is the level of jostling for power, for leadership, for interacting, friction is known as storming. There is the level for basically understanding each other and accommodating each other, covering for each other, supporting each other. That's known as norming. And then once the third level of norming is done, you have now the perfect team level, which is performing. And performing is where the team now is working to deliver on a goal outside of itself. The fifth level is for the temporary groups, which eventually break up. A person who has been a member of a group has more value than someone who has never been a member of a group, so it's known as adjoining. It's theory I use a lot whenever I'm speaking about group dynamics, because it's a classic. That's one reason. It was evolved in the 1960s, and other than being a classic, it augurs well with my own application. When I lecture and I give group assignments, I start to notice this pattern from the first point when they are allocated groups and they start to form, they start to get closer to each other. Then soon after, you get reports of this one is not doing this one is not doing this. So the pressure of the storm starts to come through. And there are some which actually break up at that point. But so the very effective ones actually transform the members by the fact of being members of that group. So they actually go to the level where they finish the performing and then eventually they are joined.
This is Beryl, Sarah, Nelvis, Harriet, Sylvia, and the sixth member, Dave, isn't here for this group meeting. Together, they make up Vuma Communications, a make-believe public relations agency they formed in their Principles of Advertising class. Their group assignment is to come up with a digital drunk driving awareness campaign that they would present to the National Transport and Safety Authority. For their final exam, they have to pitch their campaign idea to the class. Today, they are shooting a short commercial for their pitch at Beryl's house.
We were supposed to come up with a short film, and we were only, how many people? We were 5 guys, and only 2 of us knew how to operate the camera and edit. But funny thing is, we shot that film in 2 days, and the last week when we were preparing to shoot, everybody was so excited. It was funny because all along nobody was caring about the production. So the last minute people came. We got some volunteers as well. Every member was excited, participating, shooting, and it was exciting for me. It was as well as interesting, and we didn't sleep those 2 days.
Okay, there was one time I had to kick some guy out of group. Basically, we were in a group, yeah, and I was a group leader. But then he never used to come for group meetings, and he never used to send me any work. So by the time we were handing in the work, his name was not there. So he comes and starts causing. He's like, "Ati, why couldn't you tell me to do what? I'm like, "You get us on my work. Go talk to the lecturer."
But I would say there are 2 characteristics that emerge whenever group work is required, and this starts from when they're students and goes on up to adult life, even in the workplace. There's one, the student who is outgoing, and they love groups there because they have a way of making everybody do the work while they simply energize people. And it sounds like a bad thing because they don't really do the work, but it's very good because unless you have that energizer person, what happens is everybody else will just do their portion. But the energizer brings energies which the group would not have had unless that person was there. Now, the other opposite is, of course, the person who is not so outgoing. The person who is very systematic, who prefers to go by process, who prefers to do everything step by step. So at any point such a person is put in a group, they start seeing all the imperfections, because you cannot have a group and everybody acting like military. Even in military, you'll still have deviations from the norm. So such people will tend to be the back end of the group. So they'll tend to do the work, but the extrovert will tend to hijack the work and own it. It's a very interesting phenomenon. The third one now is especially among students, the one who has not found the area where they can excel. So they will do a bit of introversion if they are really introvert, and then quickly they will try and switch and become now energizers, which they will fail miserably, and then they will go back to introversion. So you get ambivalence. But once they've mastered it and they know it's a strong point, they come out very well.
There's the person who does everything in their possible power to get out of presentations. They just don't want to present. They can do the work, whatever, but they're shy, as the shy worker. Then there's the joker who just everything is a joke to them. They don't do the work, they don't do the presentation. Then there's the overachiever who takes up 60% of the work and does like 10% of the work.
I am not a consistent kind of person, you know. Sometimes I want to take charge. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just want to goof off the whole time. And sometimes I don't want to be part of the group at all.
Talk about what you expect from the creative strategy.
There are only a few days left until the group members have to make the pitch for their digital drunk driving awareness campaign. They have to go through the sequence of the presentation, who will say what, and even what they will wear.
I think I could pinpoint 3 areas where a group can actually fail. The first one is the storming. So they have so many conflicts, and the resolution of the conflicts that the members, most members, critical number of members are choosing is to bail. I form the group and I put it like on paper and publish it so that everybody knows this one is a member of that group. So any attempts to jump ship to go into another group, everybody is clear. Because when you leave it fluid, you can get a lot of moving and changing. The second area where the groups can fail is when they perform and they have a kind of need to continue performing even beyond the requirement. So you'll hear people say, oh, I want to go back, let's go back to our groups, these groups that group was better. But the intention is to have them experience different people in different groups. The third area that groups can fail is at the forming stage. So this is usually because of past experiences. So someone has known in the past they had a tough experience working with people of the opposite gender, so they try to be in a group with no opposite gender. Whether you actually do the assignment well or not, it's not important. The important thing is that you benefit from membership of that group.
D-Day is finally here, and Vuma Communications has to make its pitch. Any personality clashes, absenteeism, or tardiness that the group had to deal with is history, and it is now time to perform.
Never more. 1 to 2 drinks can get you tipsy. The person who has the best creative video on stupid things you didn't do would be our ambassador.
Models from popular artists to CEOs and other people who endorse the idea that drunk driving is wrong. Besides that,
numbers of up to 70,000 young people nationwide. And for future initiatives, we hope that the word of mouth buzz will be able to cast a wider net.
Hi everyone, my name is Narvis. I'm going to take you through our work plan. Imagine you have to stop there and believe your work plan is good.
Things don't always go according to plan, but there's no avoiding it. First years, second, third, even seniors all have to work in groups sometimes. And like Nyagamugo said, What's more important is meeting different people and not doing well on the assignment. So if people are just not your thing, suck it up and hope for the best. This is not to say, however, that students should focus on socializing and completely forget about the work.
If you have any idea in your mind, you have to put it into action, not just have it in your mind. Time management, organization, and how to deal with the most important stress. What to do when you are stressed. You know, when there's so much stress, like in IT you go through much agony. And that I can tell you. It's not like the other things people do, like business. You only have your term paper.
Yeah, like I've learned very many positive, of course. Like, I know how to deal with people from different age groups, from different cultures, because when you're dealing with Americans like it straightforward. Like in my group I have Americans, so they like it straightforward. And I have Kenyans who just, want probably to be soothed and, say it slowly. Probably Africans like say it slowly. So I've also been able to widen my scope and able to deal with diverse people.
Most likely, if you do your best and try to gel with your colleagues, everything will fall into place and your group's performance will be the talk of the campus.